Welcome. My name is Penny Rosema, and you're listening to the Cookware Manufacturers Association podcast. One of CMA's goals is to keep our members informed. And in this podcast, our guest is Peter Giannetti. He's the editor-in-chief at HomeWorld Business, the VP of Editorial and Publishing Operations for ICD. So if you're not already subscribed to HomeWorld Business, I encourage you to do so, and you can find more information at homeworldbusiness.com. HomeWorld Business is all one word, no spaces, no dots. homeworldbusiness.com. Peter has recently returned from Frankfurt, Germany and the Ambiente show. And that is the first global houseware show of the year, and it provides an opportunity to get a good sense of the houseware industry. So we asked Peter to share some of that experience as well as his insight into the cookware and bakeware sector. Welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Penny. Thanks very much for having me. I always look forward to our conversations.
I know it. You always have a great deal of information, and we really appreciate your insight. So how was Ambiente?
Well, Ambiente was very different this year through no fault of the management of Ambiente and the people that exhibited there, but it hit just as the coronavirus quarantine was kind of moving into full gear in China, and the concerns about the coronavirus and how that may affect manufacturing in China and supply chain really became a key talking point at the show. First and foremost, everyone understands that finding some relief from a human health crisis is paramount, but it does touch the industry very directly when it comes to manufacturing and supply chain. So that was on people's minds at the show. And it did affect attendance. The Chinese exhibitors who were probably restricted from getting there were not there, so there weren't many visitors. And there were even some European companies who were restricted from going over concerns about the coronavirus. And a couple of big American retailers that had planned to be there decided at the last minute not to attend. That said, those that were there saw a show that was brimming with new ideas and new products and the opportunity for new discoveries. So the show itself was actually full of some unique opportunities. It just had to deal with the coronavirus scenario.
Yes, I can only imagine. When you were at the show, can you give us some insights to the cookware and bakeware sector? Any aha moments?
Yeah, well, not a lot of aha moments, and I think that's just the nature of what's happening today in the housewares business and the cookware and bakeware business specifically. The business is often more defined by its evolution rather than its radical revolution. Although there are times when a very specific, unique product or a concept emerges, whether it was ceramic coatings a few years ago or whatever those kind of aha moments are. I think this show is marked more by an industry that is having a difficult time finding the resources it needs for radical innovation. The tariffs last year did take their toll on margins in this business. So I do think you have the broader manufacturing sector out there, while they would love to innovate and introduce some really, revolutionary things, what they're doing is focusing on making the basics better and making the basics kind of brand new again. There were unique items. You're seeing things like lightweight cast iron, lightweight cast aluminum. You're seeing sets that nest together. These aren't necessarily new, but you're seeing these products emerge as being very important. And sometimes, Penny, innovation is not just limited to the product design and development. Innovation extends into supply chain, and it also extends into how you market the product. And I think the cookware business in general right now has an opportunity, since perhaps its margins are tighter and the resources there for risky development may not be what they were. But you're seeing the business continue to evolve the product, make the product easier to use, make the product lighter, make the product easier to clean, make it more convenient. They have to now communicate those benefits to the consumer. So this comes down to an opportunity for the business to really reconnect with the consumer, but also to help the consumer connect at key moments during the week, key moments during the month, key moments during the year. The consumer wants to be together again. They want to be together in the kitchen. They want to be together at the dining table. They want to be together in the home during parties. Cookware plays a valuable role in that. And if the industry can continue to find new opportunities, whether it's through social media, whether it's through influencers, bloggers, and more traditional means with their retail customers, to sort of not so much reinvent cookware, but really show why cookware is a valuable accessory in the home, why it can go from oven to table, why it's just stylish enough to help people express their personalities. That personalization is so important. So I think these are the types of trends we're going to see. You're seeing smaller pieces, sort of single-serve cookware pieces, if you will, that may allow a family or people at a party to provide slightly different variations of the same meal. You're seeing this adaptation of cookware to be a serveware accessory. So these are the things that are really important in the business, and I think there's a couple factors underlying this. And we've talked about this before. The traditional business, as I've said, has been challenged to kind of come up with that next great big thing. Meanwhile, outsiders, if you will, last year it was as seen on TV companies who came in with product that may not necessarily have been new, but they were using the power of as seen on TV marketing to create awareness and to convince the consumer it was new. In the past year, we've seen a lot of direct-to-consumer cookware brands emerge kind of from garages all over the country, and some of these products are really interesting, but more than that, they sound really interesting, and they're reaching the consumer in a different way than the traditional retail channel. I think the retail suppliers don't have to necessarily run to direct-to-consumer, although they may be considering it. I think they have to recognize why direct-to-consumer may be eating into their market share. It's the ability to really spin the product. Maybe it's about social responsibility. Maybe it's about natural resources. Maybe it's about some consumer lifestyle trend that sort of taps directly into what's going on right now. These direct-to-consumer marketers have seized that opportunity. They don't have the resources and the infrastructure necessarily to sell to a broad base of retailers, but the mainstream guys do, and they need to look at those marketers and figure out how they can adapt their marketing strategy to sort of suit that while not abandoning their traditional go-to-market practices and the retail channels that they have to support.
So what I heard you say in that, kind of repeating it, is that, on the retail side, understanding why the direct-to-consumers are working. Is it their environmental pitch? Is it the lifestyle pitch? It's the connecting. And for our manufacturers, anything they have that can support the retailers to help them connect, that's all, valuable.
I agree. It's funny. I know retailers know this needs to happen. I often think the manufacturers sometimes know this ahead of the retailers, and it's about finding that sweet spot where we can deliver goods to market affordably, efficiently, while also bringing out, improvements in the product, improvements in performance, and repositioning that product for today's market. It's not about selling cookware anymore. It's about selling cooking. It's about selling the opportunity to entertain. And that is a major difference in how to position a product that for years has really been positioned primarily on the basis of its functionality, pure functionality, and a lot of the features and benefits. Those remain important, but a litany of features and benefits is not necessarily going to be the tipping point for consumers as a product that they believe is sort of tailored to their needs. Now, you can't make a piece of cookware for every household in America, but you can develop strategy that understands how your consumers are living and how the younger consumers are now moving into homes and what they want. Maybe they don't want sets. Maybe they want mix and match opportunities for different types of meals. So it's about breaking down that traditional dynamic about how a product is conceived, developed, and merchandised. And those are hard things for all factors of an industry to do. It's hard for manufacturers to kind of move outside their comfort zone. It's hard for retailers to stop doing things their way, but you have to move outside your comfort zones in order to continue to serve an evolving marketplace and do so profitably. So the cookware business grew last year. I think the Cookware Manufacturers Association numbers estimated at about 2.5% growth. That's good news, but it's a fight every day in this business right now because of the factors, because margins are tighter, because of e-commerce disruption, because of tariffs, because of the threat of the coronavirus shutting down supply chain dynamics and delaying the movement of new goods to the U.S. market. I mean, if this goes on for another month with factories really not out at full capacity, that starts to jeopardize the summer and spring market. So the industry has faces a lot of headwinds. The one tailwind it has is that cookware, bakeware, kitchenware, tableware, all kitchen electrics, all these products they're not so much recession-proof or downturn-proof or challenge-proof, but they are basic necessities, and it's about how to position basic necessities at a time where there are so many things kind of challenging you. People need cookware. They need pots and pans. They need knives. This industry has to tap into the reasons for that need, and it's not always just the lowest price. And it's durability, it's function, it's performance, it's how to be on the table, it's how can I make 5 different things in one pot. It's so many variables that have to be considered, and that's companies that don't have to sell to thousands of retail doors sometimes have an advantage in that they can kind of start from scratch. Well, the cookware industry doesn't need to start from scratch, but it really needs to reset some of the key variables that allow it to communicate to its consumer and give that consumer value. One other thing, the industry needs to open its scope a little bit, and I know people in this business know that, but it's not just what other cookware companies are doing. It's not just what as seen on TV companies are doing, what direct-to-consumer companies are doing in cookware. But they have to look at the appliance business. They have to look at things like multi-cookers. They have to look at things like convection ovens with air frying capabilities, air fryers. All these appliance products are talking about doing a lot of things that traditional cookware have done, and they're talking about doing it more conveniently and faster. So you have to understand how that's taking not just market share, but it's taking the consumer mind share off of your business. So you have to restore value by understanding the dynamics that make those products popular and sort of adapting them to your business. So it's not an insurmountable challenge. You just need to understand the challenge before you go to market.
Right. I like that play on words there, market share versus mind share. That's a new scope for it. So good look at, kind of what went on at Ambiente and a look back at 2019. What are you seeing for the show in Chicago, the Inspired Home Show?
Well, I'll segue back to the coronavirus situation. American retailers skipped Frankfurt. European retailers skipped Frankfurt. Some Canadian retailers skipped it. South American retailers skipped it. In that sense, I think that positions the Houseware Show to be an important staging point for retailers who have not yet been able to meet with their resources. You may know that the International Sourcing Expo has already been canceled for the Houseware Show. That means the Chinese companies won't be there, and that's for many reasons related to the virus and also travel restrictions. So on that front, that'll be missing. But I think the show has the potential to be real important to kind of kick off the year with retailers who you may not have seen earlier. They weren't able to go to Frankfurt. They weren't able to go to China. So that's an opportunity for the show. And it's okay to talk about opportunities that kind of are born out of crisis. It doesn't mean we don't prioritize the crisis, but we do know that you have to be ready and responsible for how those things affect your business. I think the show is going to be interesting, Penny. I think the industry has done a good job of evolving its business, of adding layers of value. Maybe I talked earlier about something that, cast iron that's lighter weight. I'm talking about products that are a bit more versatile, products that have a durable coating on them. In Frankfurt, there was a lot of talk again about natural and organic, and it's something I think we're going to continue to see in the U.S., kind of like sustainability 2.0. I think we learned through the first round of sustainability what really matters to the consumer and what really matters to the consuming public. So I think there will be an opportunity for this industry to, where it can, talk about how their products are made responsibly, and where you can apply organic elements to a product, whether that's cookware, kitchenware, appliances, whatever. So I think you'll see more of that at the Houseware show. So it's a challenging time because of all the variables I talked about, but this housewares industry through the years has confronted challenge head on. It is one of those businesses that does continue to invent, continue to create, and try to make things a little bit better. Business that is not prone to steep declines during downturns, and it may not be prone to steep inclines during upturns. It's kind of a steady business. It has inherent intrinsic value. It's now about figuring out what you have to do to rise above the noise and make your product stand out a little bit more. It could be design. It could be added performance. It could be the application of smart technology. That continues to be an important component of this business. So I'm looking forward to the show. I think the retailers will have a decent show if they go there looking for new ideas and new opportunities. And that said, the vendors there, the exhibitors, have to be prepared to work outside of their own comfort zone, their own box.
Peter, thank you so much for all this background information. I want to remind listeners that they're listening to the Cookware Manufacturing Association podcast. And Peter is with HomeWorld Business and ICD Publications. Another reminder to people, if you're not part of homeworldbusiness.com, check it out. Subscribe to the publication. There's a wealth of information. The Cookware and Bakeware report went out. Was it early this year or late last year that I
No, the Cookware Bakeware report in HomeWorld actually broke in our February 3rd issue. That was the issue we had at Ambiente. So, it's a kind of a comprehensive look at some of the trends that I've discussed. There's some numbers in there on advertising, and there's a dialogue that kind of touches all facets of the cookware, bakeware, and non-stick coatings segments right now. And
yes,
and we appreciate seeing it.
Yeah, I always read it in detail. I've made some markups on it, and I encourage our listeners to check that out if they haven't already, because it does have a wealth of information. And thank you again, Peter. We appreciate you joining us on this call and giving us an update on what happened at Ambiente.
I'm happy to do it, Penny. Thank you, and we'll see you in Chicago.
You bet. I'm looking forward to it. And are you presenting there again this year?
I am going to be moderating a couple of panels, one in the Smart Talks Pavilion and one that's involving the IHA, the International Housewares Association, rollout of something called Market Watch, which is a new program by the IHA that kind of takes their traditional state of the industry, and it's repositioning it more as a look at key trends and how those trends are driving different sectors of the marketplace. So that promises to be a real interesting report, and I am going to be part of a discussion helping them roll that report out.
Well, I'll make sure I plan ahead, get online, and encourage listeners to do the same, because the schedule's out there and you can see what speakers are at what locations. So they do a little bit of homework before they go and make sure they don't miss those presentations.
Yeah, the IHA does a good job with education. Again, in this day and age, Penny, the show floor and where the product are, obviously that's the prime time there, and that needs to be worked aggressively. But this is a business, because it's dealing with so much change and so much disruption. The more intel you can get, the more insight you can get. You don't have to necessarily take everything home with you, but if you go to sessions and you can find one or two nuggets in each session that gives you some food for thought, that helps inspire new ways to do business.
Yes, and what I usually do, because I'm not on the, the selling side or I don't have to be running a booth, I usually try and get to those educational sessions, and the IHA does a great job of having those available online. So just a shout out to our CMA members, watch for our newsletter and some posts that will be coming out, as we hit some of these that we think are really relevant to our industry. We'll give you some heads up on it and give you direct links when those are posted and available on the web as well. So we'll do a little bit of groundwork for people. And one thing I like about the IHA show is there are meetings. Some of those presentations are before the show, like at 8:00 in the morning before the doors open on the floor. So people can, even if they've got show floor duty, can make some of those presentations as well if they want to get
and one of the things that's important, everyone knows this as the Houseware Show. We've known it that way for years, and I'll continue to call it that kind of colloquially. But there was rationale and good reason behind the name change to the Inspired Home Show. It really reflects the industry's opportunity and the IHA's goal of facilitating the opportunity to have a better connection with the consumer, understand the consumer, understand how those trends really play directly into the buy and sell opportunities on the trade side. So it marks an important kind of beginning for that show again in terms of its new positioning. It's still very much a B2B marketplace, but you have to understand that doing successful B2B successful business to business, if you will, requires more than ever a strong connection to how the consumers shop, why they shop, where they shop, and what they want.
I love it. I think it's a great change, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Chicago. Thank you, Peter.
Take care now. Bye-bye, Penny.
All right. That's a wrap for our podcast this afternoon. If you want more information about the Cookware Manufacturers Association, we are at cookware.org. The Cookware Association is a proven value to our members. We maintain and update the engineering standards for the production of cookware and bakeware. We provide timely statistical reporting, and we are a resource for retailers, including cookware training guides. So when members are meeting with their retailers, they can point them to the cookware.org for additional support and material. And of course, we have the great value of knowing when these podcasts are posting. So check us out at cookware.org or reach out to us to connect if you're interested in membership. That makes a wrap for this episode, and we thank you for listening. Enjoy the day.